Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Lone Oak Farm. It's day 4 of autumn. We're kind of slap bang in the middle of the season and we're changing the running order of things a little bit. Now I did say that we were going to do some corn chaffing today and that's going to get delayed by at least 24 hours. And the reason for that is because of the bale limit. Now we have to make... I can't get in there with that. Why can't I get in there? Oh, I'm using the Magnum, that's why. I have to pull it in from the front. The ceiling's too low and this tractor's too tall. And I normally do this with the Puma. There we go. Puma's currently on chaser bin duty. The harvest is underway on field 48. It has been going now for around about 2 hours. We've got a lot of field to cover. And while that is going on, I am going to start making some progress doing some mowing so that I can then get some baling and everything done as well. Now, I said the reason why we need to get everything done, a little bit differently is because of the bale limit. Now, we know from the very first episode that this field here, field 44, produces a very large number of bales. I think it was 144 bales, if memory serves me correctly. And this time we've got an extra 10% because it's got a plough bonus because we mowed it. So we are looking at potentially around 160 bales on the field this time, which is an awful lot. And that, combined with the silage bales that we still have on a trailer, which we are going to go and sell a little bit later, and also combined with the straw bales that we have and the hay bales, means that we're kind of getting very close to the bale limit already. And we also know from past experience that our grass field over by the sheep, field 24, will produce somewhere in the region of 100 bales or so, give or take a little bit. So it's a lot of grass, and a lot of bales to make. So to try and work our way around that, we have to take into consideration the fact that to make the money that we want to make with silage and silage baling, what's important to realise is that it takes 2 days for us to ferment those bales. Now, silage and silage bales will ferment at a rate of 1/3 of your season. So each season is split into 3 transitions. So you have early, mid and late. And it takes a full transition, or the equivalent of, depending on the day you start. So if you started on at the end of the transition, it would take to the end of the following transition. But it takes 1/3 of your season, a full transition for your silage and your silage bales to ferment. So if you have a 6-day season like we do here on this farm, then it'll take you 2 days for your silage and your silage bales to ferment. If you are running a three-day season, it'll only take 1 day. If you're running a 9-day season, it'll take 3 days, and so on and so forth. Now, because of that, we have silage bales, that we're going to do today, and the earlier we get them done, the quicker we can get them wrapped, and the quicker they'll start fermenting, which is important because we have another field that we need to get done. But if we do all the baling tomorrow, as we'd originally kind of planned to do, then it means that by the time those bales were fermented, we'd be into winter and the other grass field would have died. So we have to get this field done today so that the silage will ferment in time for us to then sell those bales and clear up that bale limit again, to free up the space for us to then actually be able to make silage bales on the other field as well. So we've had to kind of change things. It's kind of forced upon us if we want to really maximise the money that we can make in this end game sort of part of our year. If we say meh, whatever, and we just ignore field 24, we're throwing away around $85,000 to $90,000, which is an awful lot of money. That's a good sized field here. It's not a big field, but you look at, say, a field like field 22, we could easily buy that field with the money that we make just baling field 24 on its own. This field will net even more. This field will net over $100,000. So we have to take that into consideration. we can't just afford to just throw away that kind of money. We need it, especially with the expense of the Rostelmash forage harvester, putting us at over $500,000 of debt with the bank. We can't just say, I'm not bothered about not earning that amount of money, because we need it. We have to earn it. So that's why we're doing some grass work right now. Going to get this done as early as we can and get the bales sort of wrapped as early as we can to give them as long, a good time to ferment, so that we can then try and squeeze in the other field towards the end of Thursday. Now, the other good thing about doing silage bales is the grass does not have to be dry to make silage bales. It does if we want to do hay, and we will probably take a little bit of hay off this field. But it does not matter one bit when it comes to silage bales. The grass can be damp, it can be raining, does not matter. The grass on the ground will rot a little bit faster until it's baled up, but it does not affect the ability to work it. We don't have to wait for it to dry out like we would if we wanted to ted it and turn it into hay. We can just cut it, bale it and wrap it while it's still wet. No problem at all. So again, despite the fact that we have that threat of rain on Thursday, does not matter. Does not affect silage baling. It will affect hay work, which is why we're going to do a little bit of hay work on this field today, as well as do some silage work. So where that sort of bit at the bottom on the left there, to the left hand side of the house, extends down a little bit, we're probably going to make that hay, and then everything else we're going to make silage. Because we don't need a huge number of hay bales, we just need to get a little bit in stock for when we start doing cows, and by the time we do bring the cows in, we'll be in a position to make more hay anyway. So we just need enough to be able to pre-mix some TMR ready for as soon as those cows arrive on the farm. And we just need to top up the food levels for our sheep a little bit as well. Make sure that we've got plenty of hay to last them through. Now I think we might have enough. There's our combine over there. Oh, it looks like it's has that stopped, or is it still going? I think it's still going. Yes, it's still going. Let's quickly jump over there and make sure that we can harvest or unload that combine. You see, we've made some good progress on this field already. Still dark as well. It's probably not going to start getting bright until around about 7 o'clock this morning, I think. So we're going to see the sun rise in about an hour or so, I think. And we're going to kind of spend the rest of the morning sort of bouncing around between working on this field and supporting the workers here, and supporting the worker over there as well. He's going to get all the mowing done. As soon as the mowing's done, he'll get the merger out and merge the field together, and then we'll do a little bit of tedding where we need to, and then we'll bale the rest up. So it's going to be a kind of a hectic morning as we try and juggle ourselves between pulling in the rest of the soybean crop and also making sure that all the grass work is done as quick as possible and as efficiently as possible as well. I am looking at getting a rear butterfly mower for next year. We'll see if having 3 cut widths is all that useful. The sky is starting to brighten up actually. The sun might not be that far away. I thought it might be a little bit longer. Maybe 6:30, 7 will be when the sun comes up rather than 7 itself. If I park that there again like that, hopefully the combine will automatically empty into that. So let's jump back over to here, see how we're going, because I need to, obviously as soon as he's finished on this section, I need to get him working over there, and I need to figure out what section I'm going to ted, and yeah, it's going to be fun. So a very hectic morning. A lot of jobs to get done, and not a lot of time, well, not so much not a lot of time, but not a lot of personnel to get them done with as well. We really are going to be up against it today. So the corn chaffing is going to happen tomorrow, and if we need to roll that over into Thursday, we can chaff corn in the wet as well as making silage in the wet, so we don't have to worry about that. It gives us again a little bit more flexibility. Today we're focusing on getting this field done and getting the rest of that harvest in. And then I have also been contacted by one of the locals just down the road and said that he knows somebody who needs a windrower. We still have to get rid of that Kuna Swadro. No, not Coon, sorry, the Krona Swadro. So we're going to go and deliver that to his house, and then, you know, someone's going to come and collect it from him at some point later. So yeah, it's all good. We're going to make some good progress today, I think. We're going to, you know, make a whole load of silage bales. We'll get those stuck at the BGA, and I'm sure we're going to have other jobs that we can do. And if we get a little bit of time, we might even start our corn shaft today as well towards the end of the day. So I'll make some more progress, and I'll catch up with you in a little while. Okay, so I got the positioning just right, as you can see, combine automatically unloading in. This is going to be enough for us to then go and take this over to the truck and dump some grain in there. Now, you may occasionally hear a little bit of background noise of traffic whizzing past during this video, and if you do, I apologise in advance for that. We are currently having our hottest summer in around 40 years here in the UK at the moment. And there's a very real chance that we may even break our all-time record high, you know, for temperature today at some point. So it's very warm, it's very sticky, and I have windows open full to try and generate a through draft in the room with doors open as well. And so you may hear some background noise, some trucks and motorbikes and stuff whizzing past. You will almost certainly at some point, depending on how lucky I am, hear a siren of a police car or of an ambulance whizzing through, maybe even a fire engine, given how hot it is and dry it is. But yeah, you may well hear some strange noises in the background this episode, and if you do, as I say, I apologise, but I'm melting. I need the ventilation. So yeah, windows are open full, and you may well hear some strange things today. Okay, so time for the first grain dump of the morning. There we go. I figured it would look a little bit better if we were tipping out of the grain door rather than dumping all over the floor, which is much wider than the grate. So it's going to take a little bit longer to empty, but that's fine. You know, we've got plenty of time to get this thing unloaded and back again. It just looks a little bit better, I think, of having just a small tip into the grate itself rather than spilling all over the floor and just having it magically all go in the grate, even though we're overlapping quite considerably. There we go. So let's get back up to the field and await the next tip. You can see here kind of an overview of how much we have harvested already since we started around about 3:15 in the morning. What's left in this section, and then comes the awkward section that I'm probably going to have to do manually because it is very, very sort of weirdly shaped. You know, I could potentially run a worker in part of this, but I think it's going to be easier if I just do that section myself. It's certainly going to be a lot less time consuming. I'm just going to have to be really careful about what's going on with the grass work as well. And we're about halfway through that section, well, just over that, maybe 2/3 of the way through that section of the field there, as you can see with our mowers. So we've been making some good progress. Still got a fair way to go, and it's still dark. Still no sign of the sun coming up yet, as you can see. We're quarter to 7 in the morning. Still really, really dark. The sun normally kind of comes up over this way, and as you can see, it's just dark clouds and stars and nothing at all yet. So I wonder what time the sun is going to come up. Maybe 7:30 to 8 o'clock. That'll be interesting to see, I suppose. Well, there we go. You can just see the sun in the distance starting to poke its head up over the horizon. just showing there in the silhouette behind the lone oak. It's going to start getting much brighter very soon, but 20 past 7, that's not too bad. As we get later and later into the year, it's going to take longer and longer for the sun to come up, and then less and less time for the sun to go down. Our days are going to start getting a lot shorter, that's for sure. Almost done with this first section as well, so we're about to get ready to move on to some manual combining. And what I've also done is I phoned back to the farmyard and said, I want one of the boys to go down and collect the 1455 from the sheep pen, bring it up, so we've got that to help out with some work on the grass field while we're taking care of everything over here. So that is on its way back. That should be at the farmyard in just a few moments, and then we can use that to run the merger while our Magnum continues to run the mowers. And then as soon as that's finished mowing, we can get on with the baling and then get the wrapping done. And yeah, we'll hope to speed that operation up. I'd like to try and get that field done by midday if I can completely. So I don't care about getting the bales off the field. We can fertilise that at any point, so I can do all the weeding and stuff tomorrow. I just need to get those bales wrapped as quick as I can today. So we'll try and get all that done and juggle between doing that and obviously harvesting this section of the field here as well. It's a lot of work to get done, all at the same time. I've only got so many pairs of hands, that I can, set to the task. But that sun is now really starting to brighten the sky up. It really does look beautiful. And see, we don't need our working lights anymore. There we go. Beautiful morning sun, shot there. Let's see if get a nice shot here for the thumbnail, perhaps. Let's get in perhaps a little bit closer. Trying to get the right angle as well. I like that. That might well be the thumbnail just there. You can just see the silos poking up over the hill in the background. You've got the some trees. There's the lone oak and the sun poking through. It's a very nice shot there. Speaking of the silos, we don't know exactly when the update is going to drop, or at least as I'm recording, I don't know exactly when the update's going to drop. I'm recording this on Friday. Afternoon, and the update was listed on the console section of the mod hub last night. And once again, whenever we have a mod that seems to be out on PC and Xbox, it'll get updated on the PC, and then we get it pushed live on the console section of the website, even when it's not available to us. It's still in testing on the console section. The console version of the update is still in testing, but we do know that we are going to get some fixes for animal nav meshes. I think there's going to be a fix for the pigs. The sheep are getting a fix for their nav mesh, so we may no longer see sheep bouncing up and down, high into the air or walking through the walls. That may well be all getting fixed. While it's a good thing, I'm going to kind of miss watching my lambs just shoot up 20 feet in the air and come back down again, because it was kind of funny. But yeah, that's getting fixed. And apparently as well, we're getting an upgrade to the silo capacity as well. I'm not entirely sure what the capacity is going up to, but we are getting that sort of upgrade. So be interesting to see exactly what the silo capacity goes up to. If anyone's on PC and already has the update, please do let me know in the comments, because I am curious. And it's entirely possible as well, by the time you see this, the update has already been pushed live on the console mod hub and I'll actually know. But even if that's the case, do feel free to let me know in the comments, because I may have missed it. I currently have no internet, so even if the update does go live today, I might not be able to download it. Just this little section here, and then we're on to the fiddly bit. And I think my mowers stopped. Yeah, my mowers have stopped, so I'm going to have to kind of bounce around a little bit now and try and do some multitasking here, which means the harvest is going to get delayed ever so slightly, but I'm glad we were able to see the sun come up while we were harvesting. Let's turn the lights off now, we don't need them. That was something that I know a couple of you were really keen to see, was the harvesters working as the sun is rising. And there you go, you can see it's really shining quite bright now. The lone oak itself just out of our draw distance. The closer we get, you know, we may possibly see it pop back in again, but no, it's still a little bit too far away. Oh, there it is. There's the lone oak just popped in. What I'm going to try and do now, I think, is... It's not going to let me, is it? I want to try and work a diagonal angle, I think. No. AI is absolutely refusing to play ball, so I'll park up here for a second. I'll go and sort the mowers out, and then I'll come back here and continue with the harvest. See, our little 1455 there is making some very, very fat rows. We're going to be spitting bales out really quickly there. So it looks like we're going to be baling a single row at a time, just wobbling ever so slightly as he goes up and down the row, which is why it kind of nips in and out a little bit, because it's right on that edge. But yeah, he's going to make some awesome rows for us there. So we'll leave him to do his thing on that field there. What I've been doing over there is I've actually changed the direction of the mowing for that small grid section over there. That's going to be turned into hay, and we'll get some hay bales off that, and hopefully that'll be enough. And I want to get those two bits kind of worked first before I do the rest of this field, because then at least I'll have a batch of bales that I'll be able to sell, and we should get a good number of bales on this section here, especially with those windrows looking as fat as that. It's going to be very impressive indeed. Now, I know I says I wasn't going to show you that much baling, but having said that, I mean, look at the thickness of these rows. I am genuinely curious just how fast it's going to spit these out, and I figured some of you are probably going to want to see. So we're just going to run this one row just to see how fast these bales come out, and pretty fast. That's 2 bales already. That's 3. Yeah, it's spitting them out pretty fast with, you know, rows as thick as this. It's certainly going to make the baling section of this field a lot easier when you consider, you know, just how many bales we're going to make on a single pass. So it's going to be a single run with the baler, then the wrapper, and then the baler, then the wrapper. I'm going to get all of this done off camera so you don't have to see me do this again. But as soon as the merger has finished doing its thing, it's going to start doing some wrapping. Until then, I'm going to have to keep disconnecting the baler and doing it manually. But actually, I'm just going to, for this first batch, I'm going to do 2 runs. That's a lot of bales that we've just made in a very, very short space of time. I've got to go back to the yard to go and get the wrapper anyway. I forgot to bring it out, so I may as well make these bales while I'm doing it. But you can see how good a job the merger is doing, and how much smoother and quicker and easier it is using that compared to that Swadro that we're getting rid of later today. It's definitely a lot more expensive, but in the long run, you know, the amount of time we're going to save and the amount of headaches it's going to alleviate, I think makes it, you know, a worthwhile investment. Alright, there we go. We have cleared away an awful lot of bales so far. Now, I've got this section over here that we mowed on a different plane, and this is so I could mark out exactly where I wanted my hay section to go. So we're not going to bale this right now, but we are going to ted it, and that'll stop the grass from degrading any further. And once it's tedded, then we can start mowing and baling the final section of this field for more silage bales. So let's unfold our Krona tether. We haven't used this yet this year. At least not on camera. I did use this to get my sheep up and running as I first moved onto the farm before the camera started rolling. It's not a bad little tether. I do quite like this. It's just a shame that it doesn't hook up to the back of the big M, because it would be great. You know, it just doesn't connect properly. It hasn't got the right type of connection. So all I need to do now is very quickly run along here. It's got a good working width as well, so you know, we can get four rows of grass quite comfortably with this, and it folds up nice and compact as well. It's really easy for transporting. It's not particularly long because the way it all folds itself in, so it doesn't hang an awful long way back. I just find this a really nice tedder to use. And this is what I was saying way back at the sort of I think the first episode. We were talking about this grass and how it can sometimes be a little tricky to see exactly where the hay is. Now, we're quite lucky in the sense that this grass is quite thick because it's had, you know, plenty of time for it to be fertilised fully, and it's had the plough stake bonus as well, so getting a good amount of grass every time we run along with the mowers. But in terms of the overall colour, sometimes when you're trying to row this up and you've got a windrower and you've got little spots, it's a little tricky to sometimes tell where it is. It's not as bad as it was on Oakfield. It was very hard to tell exactly where all that loose stuff was on Oakfield, because there was more of a yellow underlayer to the grass. On this, you can see it's kind of a slightly, you know, pale light brown kind of underneath kind of colour, almost a grey colour. It's you know, that brown shade is so pale, and that just helps make it a little bit easier to spot the hay. If this had been the same sort of yellow underneath texture as it had been on Oakfield, then it would have been very, very hard to see this sort of loose hay indeed. Of course, once it's all rowed up, it's much easier, because you've got these big thick windrows that really do stand out. But those little scraps, it's easy to miss them sometimes when you have a light coloured base to your field, and you could end up leaving some hay on the field without even realising it. There we go. I'll just quickly swing around. No need to lift up this time. Just missed a spot of the grass there. That was a little clumsy. There we go. Let's tag that. Stay away from the telegraph pole. The other thing I quite like about this particular tedder is it doesn't spread the grass around too much as it's being tethered as well. It tends to keep it within the windrows to a point. There are some out there that are a little bit better than that at doing it, but it's a pretty good one, this one. So I hope that's going to be enough hay there just to give us a few hay bales. We might have to do a little bit more, and if we do, well, we've got other bits of grass that we can work on if necessary. Yeah, we could even do this little section here, but I think by and large that's going to be enough. So it's time for us to get mowing again, get those up and running, and while that's going on, we can make a little bit more headway on our harvest. That's been kind of sat idle for a couple of hours now, just wait, well, I say more than a couple of hours, but sat waiting for us to actually be able to turn our attentions back there. And now that the baling and wrapping here is done, I can send my worker off to mow this section, and as soon as he gets underway like that, I can leave him to get on with it, and we can jump back over here and carry on with our harvest. Let's get the engine started, motor on, and off we go. So let's finish bringing in a bit more of this soybean. So we've been making some decent progress on this field. I've just hired a worker to run the combine here on this pass for me so I can grab the auger and unload it, but I have been doing most of this harvesting myself just to save a little bit of money and also to speed up the operation a little bit so there's no constant long-winded turns from the AI at each pass. Been working across the field at this angle just to try and maximise how much we can pull in per pass, and how much we can do per pass as well, in terms of how long we can keep running. It has sped things up a little bit, but we're now getting to the awkward stage of this field where it's going to be a lot of kind of stopping and starting. So I'll just park that there. Let's jump back into the combine, fire the worker and take over. There we go. Let's pipe in. Do this little triangle here. And this is where I'm going to start attacking the field with a border. I think it's going to be the quickest and easiest way to do this section. And then, once the border's in place, then we'll probably run diagonally across the field again. So I want to start about here so I can line everything up quite nicely. Our mower is plodding away. He's almost finished doing those strips on field 44. As soon as he's done, we can then hire a worker to run the the merger for us, and get all those rows nice and neatly created, and then we can manually bale it as soon as it's done. And I'm hoping that this field will be finished by the time we need to start the baling. See, the quicker we can get to the bales, the bigger they're going to be when we do actually get the chance to bale them, or the more grass we'll have on the field, so the more bales we can create. And then obviously we can get onto wrapping those nice and quickly at the same time, so we can make quite a nice haul of silage bales. And as I say, don't forget, we have got 24 on the back of that trailer, which we were initially going to keep to make some TMR, because we were planning to try and bring some livestock in during autumn, this autumn, but with the prices the way they are, we decided to wait till next summer for cattle. So those 24 bales sitting on the back of the trailer at the yard are going to go back over to the BGA again, and we're going to sell those. That'll bring in a nice little bit of extra cash. Nothing too huge, nothing major, but a nice little extra bit of cash. And combine that with the Swadro money that we're looking to get. We're looking at somewhere in the region, I think, 25,000 for the Swadro, which isn't bad considering it cost us 33 brand new, around 33. So we're looking at a decent price, and because it is still reasonably new, it's not that old, it's not had that much operation put on it, so it's still in incredibly good condition, so it's still holding its value quite well. So we're getting decent money for it, and obviously the farmer who's buying it from us is getting a bargain compared to buying one brand new off the shelf. And I say that money with the money they're going to get from the bales means that we should have enough to maybe purchase a small field that we can add to our little repertoire, but it might also be able to fund a rear butterfly mower. So I'm kind of not quite sure what I'm going to do with that money yet. It's going to go in the bank overnight, I think, just to help bring us under $500,000 of debt with the bank, but we'll see how we reinvest that money, and also we'll see how many silage bales we're going to have once we've finished working on field 44. Not going to be the same number of bales as last time, because we have done that small patch as hay, so there is going to be a little bit of difference, but we should still have over 100 and something bales quite comfortably. I reckon we'll have over 120 bales easily. Probably more than that, probably around 130, 140 bales. It's not a particularly big patch of hay that we've done. It might not even be enough for our cows, but that's fine. As I say, by the time we are looking to bring cows in, it'll be sort of approaching midsummer next year, when their price will be at its lowest, and we'll already have grass available to us at that point. So it's mainly just going to be, that's going to be hay for the sheep and nothing else really. Maybe keep a few here just to get a little bit of TMR started, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Whereas we had to do the straw by the time we're in a position to do straw, our crops won't necessarily be ready. So it's always good to have some straw on hand, I think. You can see we've almost done this this patch here. Not a lot left to go. See if we can... it's going to take 2 passes, I think. Let's get most of it here. Yeah, we haven't quite got enough width in the header to get it all. We'll have a little patch. We can swing around and grab that. And then we can find out just how much our soybean total is. Don't forget we need to take 6,500 litres off our storage total, because we already had 6,500 litres in the silo, thanks to being a medium save file. We had a little bit of starting grain across most of our crops, and soybean was one of them. So 6,500 off our overall total will tell us just how much we pulled off all of these fields. I don't think we're going to hit triple digits off this field, but that auger is looking almost full. I don't know if we can get it all in. It's going to be close. Are we going to have just a little bit left in there? Nope, just squeezed it all out. That's good. So maybe there's not. Maybe there's a bit more space there than I thought there was. Let's move the combine just off the field a little bit. We'll deal with bringing the combine back in a moment. I want to get this grain put away and see just how much we've got. So we'll just park the combine here on the corner, on the edge of this path. It's a very kind of difficult to see path, but there is a little pathway here between the fields. So we'll park the combine there for a second. Let's go unload the auger into the truck, and then we can run the truck back and see just how much soybean we've pulled off our 3 fields. And that will determine what kind of collateral we'll have when it comes to purchasing new fields in the off-season. There are a few that I want to try and target if possible. I'm looking at fields 51, 52 maybe, but definitely 51, 53, 54, and if I can afford it, I'd love to have field 50 as well, but 50 I think might be a little bit beyond us. But if we can get 51, 53 and 54, those 3 fields there will add some really good land for us and really boost our crop options next year. And we'll be able to pull in some big harvests. Who knows, we might even need a second combine next year if we can get field 50 as well. Although, will we have the money for a second combine? That's the question. That is the big question. So we've got enough space in the truck, I think, to take all of this. It's going to be really tight, but we should be able to get all of that grain into there. 47,000 litre capacity with our trailer. Don't forget we're getting a bigger trailer in the off-season as well, pushing our capacity in our trailer up to around 65,000. Going to be getting a Boss trailer. Let's fire up the truck. Oh yeah, we've got space, look. And there we go, 42,200 litres. Now we had one trailer that was around 46,000 litres, I think. So it looks as though we've pulled off around about in the region of 85 to 90,000 off that field. Not quite triple digits. I thought we might get a little bit more than that. Turn the lights off as well. There we go. But it's still a pretty decent haul, and when we combine that with what we have in the silo, we should be looking at a couple of 100,000 litres in total, I think, which means we are potentially looking at a nice cool 500,000 when we come to sell this in the summer next year. Just got to make sure we get that right price and the right day to really maximise just how much money we can get off this crop. There we go. So we'll let this empty in and then we'll see what our actual total is. Last little drops in, there you go. Right, how much have we got? 246,979 litres. So for all intents and purposes, 247,000 litres. Nice. That is very, very nice. So even if we only get $2,000 per 1,000 litres, we're still looking at 500,000. And if we can get 2,500, we're looking at 625, give or take. That is absolutely fantastic. That is really, really good to see. I'm really happy with that. So, oops, pressed the wrong button there. Well, yes, we'll save. Just in case we suddenly crash. Didn't mean to press the save button, but we'll save anyway. So there we go, fantastic stuff. Let's jump back over to our grass work over here. The mowers have stopped, I think. Oh, no, it's still going. Oh, it's blocked by the header trailer. Damn it, he's been sat waiting for a while. Okay, well, while he's doing this, we can grab the merger and we can start tidying this up. Oh, there's a little patch there. You know, we might grab that if I remember. If not, it'll rot away and disappear anyway, so it's not going to hang around forever on the rest of the map. What I do want to try and do is tidy up this line along here a bit as well, so that this grass is away from the hay and they are separated out. So I'm just going to need to pull out a little bit more. I think that should be enough. If there's a little tuft left, that's fine, but I don't want to be picking hay up in my grass and leaving grass with my hay. So let's check. The conveyor is going to the right. That's now central. Now it's going to the left. Okay, that's the way I want it. Oh, look at that. That's perfect. Now if I can hold that line. Excellent stuff. Oh, that's tight. That's really tight. There we go. Right, so we'll lift that back up. And now it's time to unleash this going up and down the field, and then we can immediately jump straight onto the baler as well. So I need to change the direction on this again. So we're going to the left. Now we're unloading onto the right. There we go. Get it lined up and drop it there. Excellent stuff. Okay, so he's off and running again. So once this is done, we'll be able to go straight to baling. It's blocked again by that trailer. I should really move that. Just nudge it out the way. It's my header trailer parked up for the edge of that field there. That's a bit clunky, a bit clumsy, but you know, I had to get it out of the way. That seemed to be the easiest and quickest way to do it, rather than dropping mowers and messing around with that. So, yeah, right, good stuff. I'm going to start my baling and wrapping again. I'll see you once that's done. So this is the last bale that needs to be wrapped. Let's see how many we've created. 129. So even taking into account this section here that we've tedded and turned into hay that we'll bale later, we've made 129 silage bales. That's pretty impressive just on that section there. That really is quite a nice amount. And given the fact that, you know, we're going to be looking probably at around 850 per bale, I would say, somewhere in that kind of region, we're looking at around another $100,000 on that field now, which is awesome news. But we need to go and deliver the Swadro. We've got a gentleman patiently waiting for this. We said we'd deliver it today, so let's get hooked up. I'm just going to give it a quick wash just to make sure it's spotless, also to clean the tractor up. Don't want to turn up and drop mud all over his driveway. So let's quickly break out the pressure washer, clean the tractor off first, and that way any mud that gets splashed onto the Swadro, we can clean that off as well. Want that thing to be absolutely gleaming and in pristine looking condition. There we go, and we'll very quickly, as I say, I don't think this needs it, we'll very quickly just give it a quick spray just to make sure it's nice and clean. Excellent stuff. There we go. Right. So, off we go to deliver the Swadro. So you can see the farm in the background all the way over there. There's nobody available on the farm at the moment, but the son of the guy who runs the farm does have a house here just off to the side, and this is where we're delivering to. So let's just turn in here. He's going to give it a quick once over, and if he's happy, then he'll be running this over to the farm a little bit later, or I'll be arranging for someone from the farm to come and collect it. There we go. So let's go knock on the door, let him know that we're here. Okay, so we've agreed on a price of 20,000. It's a little less than I was hoping for, but it's still better than I would have got at Manning's. Not by much. Manning's would have only given me around about 19,000 for it. So it makes sense to sell it to somebody who needs it as well. So that's going to get delivered a little later in the day. Someone from the farm is going to come and collect it. We have our money, so it's time for us to make our way back to the farm, pick up those silage bales that are on the trailer, take those to the BGA, to Gavco's, and sell those. So I'll see you at the BGA in a little while. So I put 15 grand of the money that we received back into the bank. You can see that, you know, we're having to pay for fuel, which is why I kept a little bit in reserve. And the sun is setting already. Look, it's only just gone 6 o'clock, and already the sun is well on its way down. The days are definitely getting shorter. But it's time for us to hook up the gear we're going to need. So I need the weight, and I'm hoping there's a connection on the back of this, otherwise we're going to be a little bit wobbly. Let's just have a look. Yes, there is a tow attachment on the back of the weight, so we should be able to hook the trailer up to that. And that'll give us a bit more stability. Last time we unloaded bales, we didn't have a weight with us, and we were a little bit wobbly. I'd kind of like to avoid that again, if at all possible. So let's go grab that trailer, take that over to the BGA, sell those bales. That'll give us a little bit of extra cash as well. It's all, you know, it all counts. It's all good money. I'm getting caught in that pile of rubble there. There we go. So let's get connected. Excellent stuff. Ooh, we are in unload position. There we go. That's better. And just restrap the bales. There we go. Not quite sure how that happened there, but yeah, let's take these over to Gavco's. So here we are back at Gavco's with more silage bales. Let's see how much these ones are worth. 899. So the price is definitely going up on bales at a later time of the year. That one's a bit stuck. Can I? I'm gonna have to auto load that one. There we go, and then drop it again. And the great thing is, you know, because the bales are now officially loosely stacked on that, I can just auto load them off the auto load trailer like that, which is quite handy. But if these are worth 900 a bale now, which is effectively what they are, just $1 short of 900 a bale, then that means that by the time the other bales that we've just made today are fermented, we could be looking at over $900 a bale. We could be looking at, you know, 920, 930, maybe even, you know, sort of 950, and then I don't know if it'll go up that much, but on, you know, we've then got another batch of bales that we're going to be making in another 2 days, and they'll be fermented 2 days after that, so those could be worth even more. We could be looking at a major silage bale windfall as we head into winter, which is fantastic news. That's just more money that we can spend on upgrading and replacing, or just bringing in additional equipment, and also more fields, more land that we can acquire. Obviously, the fields that I want to bring in, we went through them earlier, looking at bringing in fields 51, 52, 54, and then if there's enough money left over, once I've also done a little bit of tinkering with our equipment roster, then field 50 as well, although I think that one's going to be a little bit beyond us. So we could be looking at some serious money. Look at this, $900 a bale. That's just awesome. When you consider we were getting less than $800 a bale on our first batch of silage bales, that's a big jump. And there we go. Fantastic stuff. So, a little bit more money to go into the bank overnight. Now we're back on the farm. The work still continues, despite the fact that we started at a little after 3 o'clock in the morning. We are still going, and still going to be going, I think, for another couple of hours off camera as well, to get everything kind of squared away and kind of done. So, dealing with the hay right now. I've got to get this all baled up once I've rode it. Then I need to square off all those silage bales, get them stacked on the side of the field. Tomorrow we're going to be doing some corn chaffing, and then we'll take some of these hay bales over to the sheep tomorrow as well, and check in on those guys, see how they're getting on. It's been a little while since we were last over there, but they should be okay, I think. Don't forget, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/JimBobPlaysGames. You can also find me on Twitter at JBPG_JimBob. Links to both of those are in my video description down below, so feel free to give those a click, pop in and say hello. Always great to hear from you guys. If you have any ideas or suggestions, or just general feedback that you want to leave, then you can do so on either of those two locations. And I will see you with the next episode of Lone Oak very soon.